Okay. Shall we start then? Okay. So what I'm going to talk about is something very common, and we have been hearing about them time and again. Few hundred times you must have heard about all these things. But then it is always important to keep getting back to these things and talking about it, because when you are talking about them, the words may be same, right? But what you receive from this is very different every time, isn't it? Yes. So this you must be realizing by now. That same words, right, same sentence, but it means so different to you at different point of time, depending upon your state of being. Right? So what is said here plus what is your state of being, these two together, you are able to make out the meaning of it. Okay? So what I am going to say is something very kind of common that we have been talking about, but I hope that it will help you to reflect further on this and get some new insights. Okay? There is a thing called Bhringa Kit Nyaya. Have you heard this? Nyaya, what you have used? In terms of logic, in terms of Nyaya Darshan, it is meant that there is some logic, and we must understand the logic. Okay. So one logic is Bhringa Kit Nyaya. Bhringa means, what is that bring called?
Like a wasp.
Wasp, And kit is this insect, So this wasp, is not giving birth to the another wasp, That kit, it picks up the kit, that, and puts it there in that shell that she makes, and keeps making this sound. After some time, that insect is converted into the wasp. So this process is like that. Okay. So you keep telling the same thing again and again, and this other person who is listening to it is slowly exploring, investigating, working on himself or herself, and then trying to get the meaning of it, and one day it becomes the wasp. So that that's how it goes. So we keep repeating that, n number of times, and provide you the condition for exploring. First listen to what is being said, reflect over it, then explore, then live up to it, right? And when you see the meaning of it and you feel that yes, it's making sense to your life, then you are living according to it, and in the process you realize that you have you are in relation to others, and therefore you start participating with the other. Right? That's how the volunteering comes in. So what Sarmilaji was telling, that volunteering is not something that you are doing for somebody else. It is something that you are doing as part of your own self-expression, right? Self-extension. So in terms of what I would speak, here it will be same thing, but for you it will make sense. I kind of hope, every time it will make more sense for you. So ultimately what we want to achieve is a society which is humane. Right? That is our ultimate goal. So we are saying vision for a humane society. That is where we want to reach. What do you think? You want a society which is humane or inhumane? Bakka?
Yes.
Anybody has doubt about it? And most of us have the complaint that the society that we have today with all this technology and AI and everything, is it humane or inhumane? Or it is growing inhumane or growing humane? So we all want a society which is humane, right? A society in which the basic need of a human being is fulfilled, right? Generation after generation. And when we say basic need, it is not just the physical facility. Right? We as human beings want to ensure continuity of happiness and prosperity. So you don't only want physical facility or prosperity, you also want happiness. And you want that happiness in continuity. Right? So a human society would mean that the basic need of continuity of happiness and prosperity of every human being is ensured generation after generation. So it is ensured at this point of time, the next point of time, and all time to come, right? For one, for many, and for all. Right? So is that clear? That is where we want to reach ultimately. If anybody has a doubt, let's discuss that first. So this is one thing that we are saying. Then we are saying that if we want to reach there, then the path to this human society would go through self and team development. Right? So how do we go there? Through the self-development and the team development. Right? Because after all, the society is collection of human beings, right? Individual human being. And depending upon the quality of this human being, you will have the society, isn't it? So depending upon the quality of the individuals and the quality of the collective human beings, we will have a humane society or inhumane society. So if we really want a humane society, then we have to start with individual. And in the individual, it has to start with the self. Because by now we realize that human being is not just the body. No, it is coexistence of self and the body. Right? And what we are doing outside through the body is an expression of what is going on inside our own self. Isn't it? So the society is an expression of my state of the being, my state of the self. Isn't it? My state of the self, your state of the self, right?
Society what I see is.
Yeah, so the society that we have today is an outcome of the state of the self of each one of us, or all of us put together. Isn't it? The conditions in my family is an outcome of our state of the self in the family, right? That is clear? The physical circumstances, they play some role, right? But that is not as significant. The major role is played by the state of the self. Can you see that? I mean, we have people now who have so much of physical resource, but if they are confused within, what will happen? They will be in a state of harmony and happiness, or disharmony and unhappiness. Yeah. And then if you have more physical facility, you will be more confused, and more unhappy, because then you don't know how to manage it. Isn't it? So the physical facility is useful for the purpose of the body, for the health of the body, and for the right utilization of the body. But that I can do only when my state of the self is in order. Isn't it? Otherwise, with lot of physical facility, I might even, destroy my body. So it has to start with the self and development in the self. So development in the self will reflect as development in the society. Does that make sense? Anybody has doubt on that? Yes. Any question on that? That a humane society will be born out of a developed self, right? Or out of developed selves. So developed human beings will give rise to humane society. Is that okay, or there is some question on this? Okay. Second thing is that if I am developed as a self, as a human being, then what will be my participation with other human being? First with human being and then with rest of nature. Will it be mutually fulfilling, or it will be exploiting the other? Mutually fulfilling, right? So with the developed self, we can be mutually fulfilling for each other, right? So human beings with clarity of the thought, clarity of understanding of the existential reality, they will have the feeling of relationship for each other, right? And out of that feeling of relationship for each other, they will be there as a family, right? As a team. Isn't it? So they will live with each other in a mutually fulfilling manner with the feeling of relationship. And they will also have that feeling of relationship with the rest of nature, and they will also see their participation in the larger order, from family to world family. Isn't it? So all that will be the natural outcome of the development of the self. Isn't it? So this developed self coming together as a family, as a team, participating in the larger order. Okay? Starting from family to institution to state and nation, and finally the whole world. So that team development is a natural consequence of the self-development. right? So this team development connects to both. It connects to the self development and it connects to the societal development. So it is in a way very crucial. So this meeting of the regional volunteers of SRN, SWR is essentially focused on this team development, right? The development of the team who on the one hand are working on themselves, right, for their own self-development, and also the team who are contributing to the development of the society, right? So they have seen that they have certain participation in the larger order, they have that commitment, and they want to work for ensuring that higher order of their existence, ultimately leading to human society. That is okay? So when we talk about team development, there are two aspects of it. One is that we as individuals are the developed self, isn't it? So that is the basic requirement. The second requirement is that we have this feeling of relationship for each other. Okay? And we are committed to fulfill this relationship with others. That is at the backbone, This having this feeling of relationship and commitment for fulfillment of that relationship, irregardless of how the other person is, what is the status of the other person. This is a basic requirement for the team development. Is that clear? This is a very strong requirement, I would say, because the success or failure of you as a team will largely depend upon this. So number one is whether you are a developed self or not, and number two, whether you have this feeling of relationship for the other members of the team and you have an unconditional acceptance for the other with whatever be the state of the other person. So if you can have that feeling and you can have that commitment, right, and you can work with it, then the team will be there and it will grow, right? And such a team will meaningfully contribute to the development of the human society. So if you ask me, I see this as one of the major challenge now. One of the major challenge now. Because I remember when we had started somewhere in 80s, okay, about this, giving this value input to the students of engineering, okay, we found that it was too difficult, because everybody would say that we have nothing to do with these values. We are, in engineering and we must teach engineering, right? We must teach technology, okay? And it has nothing to do with values, okay? At the most, there was this notion of humanities, So some courses in humanities were offered in some of the colleges like IITs, okay? So that time it was considered very big thing to, start some, course like this. But today if you see, 4,000 colleges are offering this course. So that is not the challenge now, isn't it? 1 lakh teachers have been oriented over last 10 years. Okay, so all that has come. But what has become very important, as far as I can see, is that these 1,000 people or 500 people who are working as the volunteers, as the team who is, contributing to this whole process of self-exploration through USB and, trying to work for a humane society. The quality of these volunteers, the self-development of these volunteers, and this team, right, who has this commitment, first the unconditional acceptance of relationship, having the continuity of that feeling of relationship, and then living with that feeling of relationship unconditionally with other members of the team, irregardless of whether the other person has developed that competence or not. Too much of expectation, isn't it? It is too much of expectation, but we can't do without it. So this is a genuine expectation or too much of expectation?
Or the team breaks. If there is no, if this is not there, then team is as strong as its weakest link. It breaks. And the work will be superficial.
Yeah, in fact, if you look at this, organizations, the volunteer organizations all over the country, there are many of them. I mean, few tens of thousands people organizations are there. But it's very interesting to find that no two people of similar competence are there together. So if people develop in their competence, they make two more organizations rather than working as a team in one organization. You understand that? Very pathetic. One of my friend, he is trying to do this compilation of how many these social organizations are there in India. He is saying that there are more than 10,000 people, okay, and organizations which has a reach to more than 1 lakh people. Each, 10,000 with a reach of more than 1 lakh people. But if you look at these organizations, there is one leader and that's it. Okay? That team is not there. So we have to take that, note of that. So that is why every time we are saying this team development, is something very significant, because it relates to you as a self and it relates to the whole society. This is the joint, link between the two, and what she is saying, as led that strength of this team is the strength of the weakest link. So each one of us has to prepare ourselves for that purpose. So a lot of responsibility on each one of us, isn't it? Yeah, is it making sense? Or am I able to convey what I want to convey? Our training of today, this education that we get today, it's very individualistic in nature. So it's trying to make you an individual, okay, who wants to excel and if necessary at the cost of the other. Or it may even have the belief that you can excel only at the cost of the other. So what Vinayji was telling, competition and collaboration. Right? So he has been teaching about this competition for years. And at one point of time he realizes that, yeah, but in the meantime he has already contributed his part of the, confusion to hundreds of students. And that's what we are doing, all of us. I mean, not only he, at least he is able to appreciate, all this. But most of us as faculty members, that's what we are doing. We are teaching about competition or about collaboration. I remember in IIT Kanpur, nowadays, these students, if somebody is studying, they'll say, why do you study? You are making our life hell. You have done enough mehnat, and you have come to IIT and that's it. Okay. Why? Because there is a relative grading, right? So if this man is studying, the other person will have to study. Okay. So he will make all disturbance and try to convince him that don't study. So if you are getting 1 crore package and if your roommate happen to get 1.2 crore, your 1 crore is gone. I mean, if you get an scholarship in one university and your friend happen to get some considered to be better university, then you are in trouble. That is how we are oriented, isn't it? So to come out of that mindset and to have that feeling of relationship and commitment for that relationship and unconditional commitment, okay, and willingness to accept the other unconditionally irregardless of what is the state of growth, development, is a long way to go. So I will not blame anybody for that purpose, but I will keep reminding that this is something which has to be done. Otherwise we will not grow as team. And if we are not growing as team, then we will not be able to contribute meaningfully. Right? We will not be able to contribute meaningfully for the development of a humane society. Isn't it? So we keep, getting this information that many places we have this problem of the team not being able to ensure that harmony, within themselves. Okay, and because they are not able to ensure this harmony within themselves, then the whole work is suffering. And it will suffer. I mean, whether you get the information or you don't get the information, that's not important. The important thing is that it will suffer. So each one of us has to take the responsibility. Each one of us has to take the responsibility. Right? So that's the core of what I want to communicate in this 3 days, meet of the volunteers. Yeah. So for this much, if there is any point of discussion, you are welcome. Then I'll proceed with this further. But the core that I wanted to communicate, I have shared with you. Now let's see, your response to that, and if there are any questions or any clarification required, I will do that.
So can you throw some insight on what do we mean by feeling of relationship?
See, the feeling of relationship means I understand, I can see that I am related to the other. The other is related to me. Right? We are in relationship with each other. And if you look at that relationship is that of mutual fulfillment. Okay? On the minimum, this is what it means. Then if I am able to see that we are in a relationship of mutual fulfillment, okay, then if I have some quality in me, right, I will try to work for ensuring that quality in you. Right? If you have some quality in you, I will work for, acquiring that quality in me. Right? And both of us are willing to help each other. Rather than having the complaint, right, for each other, trying to criticize the other, trying to condemn the other, okay, or trying to prove that I have this capability and competence which the other does not have. So if the other does not have the competence, and if I have that feeling of relationship for the other, it becomes my responsibility to develop that competence in the other, rather than criticize and complain. Isn't it? Then we all grow together. And in no condition I have the feeling of opposition for the other. So when I am saying unconditional, that is the meaning of it. Right? So no feeling of opposition, no complaints, no criticism. Right? A right evaluation is necessary, but that right evaluation can be done with that feeling of relationship, and it can also be shared. Right? So I can share that, right? Like when I'm talking to you now, I'm certainly telling you about my evaluation of the state of the team members, in our whole team. Right? I'm also placing my, expectation. But all that I'm doing with a feeling of relationship, not with feeling of opposition or feeling of condemnation. So I can appreciate how much you have improved over the period time, Okay, when everybody has become so selfish and so, individualistic, right? You have developed so much of concern, for the society. You are taking it out your time, you are putting your effort, your resources for the well-being of, all. So you have already traveled a distance, okay, a long distance. But then we have to, grow further, develop further, because otherwise it will not work. When we are saying ensuring the well-being of all from generation to generation, okay, long way, it is something to be done now at this point of time, right? For the group we are working, and then it has to expand for the whole society, and then it has to expand for the other generations, So you have to generate systems which can sustain for, all time to come. So that kind of big responsibility we have. So with that relationship, okay, you will have this clarity about the relationship. You will have the acceptance of relationship, right? With that acceptance, you will have that feeling, right? And with that commitment, you will have that feeling and you will express that feeling, okay? And in the process, you will help the other as and when necessary. And if the other person is lacking, rather than complaining, I take the responsibility for that mutual fulfillment to help the other grow. So all that would mean, when I'm saying relationship.
Sir, developing the competence, sir. See, the new generation kids, the students, how do we develop the competence? Because they are pampered child, whatever they are, the parents have given. Now we, as a faculty, if we say something wrong, they offend us. Now how do we develop the competence in the younger generation? That is really challenging for our teaching.
See, when we were trying to work on this, this was the problem that we found, that people are not willing to listen. Okay? They think that they know. Okay? They know and it is their business. You have no business to interfere. Okay? So first thing that we did was that rather than placing it as something right, okay, which they have to understand and live up to, we started placing it as a proposal, and asking them that you explore. Okay. If you tell them that what you are saying is right and they should try understanding it, they will not listen. But if you tell them that this is something which is there with me as a proposal and I am exploring it, and I am placing this for you as a proposal to explore in the real sense, not in the terms of managing, then they explore. So we had this hard experience, and we found that if you go by the proposal, then people don't have problem. See, these young children, though they are very arrogant, but they are also very confused. Okay. And they are in trouble. I mean, they have no clarity of thought, of things. So their life is very difficult. You have to understand that they are already in trouble. So if you listen to them first, one thing is that we don't want to listen to anybody. That's the problem with us also. We want to tell. Okay? And they also don't want to listen. Now if you have two such people, very difficult to communicate. Okay? But if you are willing to listen, okay, and ask questions which are relevant, then they will not have answers. They have questions, they don't have answers. Then you can place your proposal. Say that this is one possibility. What do you think about it? Let's see. Then it starts working. Not very difficult. These young people are okay. I mean, we have not given them right kind of education, so they have become arrogant. Okay. But if you are willing to share, listen to them, talk to them, and if they feel that yes, you are caring for them, listening to them, they will come up with their problems also. And then you can suggest this as a solution, possible solutions, which they can explore and find out. They try investigating, because they are already in trouble, not that they are very happy. What do you think? Are they happy very? No. Lot of trouble. But that feeling of relationship you have with them, you have to have with them. I mean, you generally think that you know and the other does not, okay? And you have to tell them what to do, which is not accepting. That is the problem. And this is also happening with the team members. We don't listen to the other. We think that we know and the other must follow. That's it. Isn't it? If we are willing to listen to each other and try understanding each other, then what is the problem? We will resolve it. Yes.
Ganesh, I am having a question.
Hello. Ganesh, the real problem I am facing is if you are with a feeling of relationship, fine. I am also with a feeling of relationship. But you are with a feeling of opposition, then I also feel opposed to you. So that is the problem I am facing at family, at workplace and all.
Yeah, so you have not accepted the relationship. That is the problem. You are entering into a transaction. Okay? So if I have acceptance for relationship, then I have the feeling of relationship irregardless of what is the feeling of yours. Because if you don't have the clarity, you may not have the feeling of relationship. That's an issue of your competence, right? Your stage of development. But then what about me? Do I understand that we are all related to each other in a manner of mutual fulfillment? Or I think that I will enter into a transaction with the other only if the other is, behaving with these conditions. So this is not acceptance of relationship. It is just entering into a transaction where you think that if I get my share, then I will give. Otherwise I will not. I mean, what Rajulji was telling, 500 volunteers pro bono, working for, doing something meaningful in this education. Right? You are not doing it because somebody else is paying for you. Or somebody is appreciating you, and oh, you are doing great things. Because many times what she is saying, that you go and try to do something for this, and they will not even entertain you. They say, oh, useless. I mean, we are in engineering and technology. Why do you want to waste time? Okay? You listen to all this, isn't it? But you understand that, okay, you are doing something meaningful and you must do it, right? Irregardless of whether the other person is able to see it at this point of time or not. And the same person gets transformed after 1 year, 2 years, right? Yeah. In fact, a lot of these ups and downs keeps coming, Many of these institutions, one set of management comes very appreciative of it, Said, yes, let's do this, and all that. Then another comes, he says, what is this? How did you get into this? Okay, stop it immediately. Like that, which is that university? VTU, right? They had a full credit course, okay? Then some new vice chancellor came and he said, why this is there with full credit? Okay, there will be only one credit, okay? Then she was busy trying to, talk to this university coordinator and, and reach the vice chancellor and all. And by the time it was made no credit, okay? So from 3 credit to 1 credit to no credit, and what is the situation now?
It is a no credit mandatory course and it's an online course.
Now it has become online also. Okay. But out of her feeling of relationship and commitment, she is still pursuing, that someday, she'll be able to meet the vice chancellor and convince him. So, all of you must have gone, or most of you must have gone through this experience. Let me look at my time. What time we have to go up to? 1:30. Okay, so I'll just proceed. If there is any point of discussion, I'll respond, otherwise then I'll proceed.
Ganesh, can you explain step by step, Ganesh? For example, you are abusing me regularly. So, what is that I have to develop within myself so that I can have a feeling of relationship?
I have to try understanding this other person who is abusing. Okay, he is in trouble. He is not comfortable within. Otherwise, how will you abuse anybody else? When do you abuse others? When you are comfortable within or uncomfortable within? This I must understand. If I understand this, then I will have a sympathy for this other person, rather than having this feeling of opposition. But I don't have that clarity that this man who is abusing is already in trouble, isn't it? He is uncomfortable within. Like we keep asking this in the workshop, particularly to the mothers. When do you shout at the child or beat the child? When you are comfortable within or uncomfortable within?
The same to others.
So somebody is shouting, you must immediately, understand that this man is in trouble.
But I go into victim mode, Bhaiya.
Yeah, you feel hurt because you are not able to see that this other person is already in trouble. You think that this other person is troubling me. That is one thing. Second thing is, what is he doing? At the most he is saying few words. What else? Okay. He is not hurting me physically. Some words are said. Okay. If I have this clarity that this man is in trouble, I will not feel hurt. I will sympathize. I will do something to bring him to this comfort, level of comfort.
That competence I'm lacking, Bhaiya. That I'm not able to get
that self-development is telling, that is important there. That with self-development, I will develop that competence, then I am able to, ensure this team development. And then I am able to ensure this, societal development.
But we can develop our competence in such a way that the other will not abuse us. That competence also we can develop through this understanding.
Yeah, that's ultimately the purpose of the whole exercise, that we can develop that competence. Not that everybody would appreciate. I keep saying that, there are people who will touch my feet, and there are people who will catch me by neck. तो दोनों तरह के लोग हैं, गर्दन पाँव पकड़ छूने के लिए भी और गर्दन पकड़ने के लिए भी, वो तो रहता ही है अभी।
पहले पैर पकड़ने के बाद में गले को पकड़े।
ये डिपेंड करता है ना, वाइस वर्सा भी हो सकता है या दोनों में से कोई एक भी हो सकता है। Like today somebody was saying founder, UHV has been there. As long as the human being has been there, UHV has been there. So you don't need to be a founder, You can only be a volunteer. Okay. So, but then, we feel very excited and we say founder, and then later on condemn, what is this?
In the society, there are lot of activities are going on, which is not by us. I'm from Coimbatore. Now, in recent days, I'm hearing about many unwanted activities that is happening. By just hearing this activity, everybody think about it, we should have a role to play. That with that, like changing the society. As you rightly said, we have to take that responsibility. So this has come to everybody, like we should do something to take the responsibility. So I want to know what is the immediate responsibility that we need to take, like as an individual, like we cannot do anything, like we have to look into the team, and as a team, like this has to be changed. And with this UHV, the people are thinking, many of the management and other doesn't know the complete essence of it. So they don't want to involve too much into it, unless otherwise the university mandate it or somebody mandate it. Somebody mandate is also when we teach, when we are having in contact with our own students in our own community, we can able to discuss with this, and we want to make a change. So I want to know what is the immediate responsibility that we need to make it, so that we brought a change in the society. I see it is a very huge task, because many things that is happening, many unwanted things that are happening.
Yeah, you see, my understanding of it is that most of these things, otherwise things which are happening in the society, most of it is getting ground in the process of education. Unfortunately, that is what is happening. Okay, these things are promoted during the course of education, and it is being done so systematically. I was in Pune for a while, and I came to know that all so-called good schools, if you are a prestigious school, you must have a LGBT club. Now it has become LGBTQ club. What is it promoting? It is basically trying to promote inhumanness. And this generation, when they come out, for them these things will become very natural. So that is happening in the process of education. If we can set this education process right, after one generation things will change. So we felt that this is what we need to do something in the process of education, whereby what we consider is right, or what is right can be placed in the process of education. At least the student should be given the exposure, the teacher should be given the exposure. They may not understand the whole of it, they may not accept the whole of it, they may not start living up to it right now, but they have a choice. They at least have an exposure, so they have a choice, and when they find difficulty in their life at some point of time, they will pay attention to this, explore and find solutions. There are many alumni who, when they were doing this course, they didn't pay attention much. But when they find trouble in their own family relationship, then they realize, yes, physical facility, and relationship is more important than physical facility. So they look back, what was the proposal, and what did it really mean. So at least we should give that option. And
But
fortunately,
majority
this
in the society, they are more towards the physical facility only, and they want to working towards that.
See, we have become more towards physical facility because this is what is being promoted all around. But we have done this experiment with at least 20,000 people, asking this question. Physical facility is required for human being, relationship is required, right understanding is required, right? Now, what is the priority, correct priority? Okay. They are able to say this even if they don't know much about what is right understanding and what is relationship. All details you enter later. But somewhere deep down that feeling is there. Okay? That means by their very design of human being, this possibility is there to look into oneself and find out what is more priority. of priority than the other things. But in education you are told that everything is money. If you give them the choice, these are three things, now you decide what is the priority. They make the right choice. They may not be able to live with it because the circumstances are very unfavorable. But then they will work on it. They will start working on it. Like all of you who have come all the way, taking out time and making effort and spending money and all that. Right? Because you think it is worth doing. Isn't it? Okay, so I'll just place these things. As I said, these are already there. N number of times we have been given this proposal. So if you look at the human goal, as an individual, we want to ensure development of full human potential, which ultimately leads to continuity of happiness and prosperity. Right? This is what we want as an individual. As a society, the collective goal is ensuring this right understanding, right feeling, which is leading to happiness in every individual, ensuring health, of the body, ensuring prosperity in every family, ensuring this trust, justice in society, and coexistence, mutual enrichment in nature, in existence. Right? And if we have this, we'll have family-based society, starting from families to society, to nation, to whole world. Right? This is what we want to do. This is where we want to reach as an individual and as a society. And it was just told in the last session that this need for happiness ultimately boils down to need to know. Having right understanding, right feeling is what ensures the state of happiness within. Right? This physical facility relates to this prosperity. Okay? And for human being, both of them are important. The happiness is important and prosperity is also important. So physical facility alone is not sufficient for human being. Over and above physical facility, what is required is right understanding and right feeling. And it is right understanding and right feeling which ensures continuity of happiness, and not physical facility. Physical facility alone can neither ensure continuity of happiness nor prosperity. All three are required: the right understanding, the relationship, and physical facility, in this order of priority. Isn't it? And when you say development of full potential, we know by now that there is a whole range of the expression of human being, right? And if you look at that whole range of expression of human being, this is how it looks. Right? All this, what do you think? As a human being, all this seems to be useful and essential for you, or anything is unnecessary? All this, lot of it written there, right? But you read through and see if anything is unnecessary here. For example, understanding of coexistence, harmony and relationship. Is it necessary? Not necessary? Necessary. Feeling of relationship. Necessary? Not necessary? Necessary, right? Then, once we have the feeling of relationship, trying to work out the details of how to, ensure being in relationship of mutual fulfillment. That thought is necessary. Isn't it? All this is necessary for me at the level of self. And if I have the feeling of relationship, and if I am thinking about how to ensure fulfillment of relationship, it will automatically appear in terms of my behavior with other human beings. Isn't it? That is team development. My work with rest of nature, my participation in the larger order from family to world family. All these are the natural outcomes, the natural expression of my development of the self. So at the level of self, I am in a state of harmony and happiness within. And with that state of harmony and happiness within, I am trying to express outside in terms of my behavior with other human beings, what we are talking about, relationship, and the team. Okay? We are working with rest of nature and ultimately participating in the larger order. Okay? From family to world family in this society. And if we do that, that results into a humane society, right? A society in which every human being, I feel is related to me, right? And I have that feeling of love for everyone, okay? So that undivided society is there, and I am also responsible towards the rest of nature. So ultimately I can see my relationship with the entire, nature, the human being and the rest of it. And I am living up to, each one of them in that order of mutual fulfillment. And if you do this, you have this undivided human society and universal human order that ultimately results into human tradition. So that kind of thing can be then continued after, generation after generation. So all this is necessary for you.
Guided senses and guided health is fine, but profit
Yeah.
in the thought level, what is that profit?
Profit guided means if I am doing agriculture, let's say, so preparing field, planting seeds, all that. What do you want? You want that something must grow, right? Isn't it?
Generally we say like we can start giving without expecting.
Yeah, but once you have grown, then you think of sharing. But the growing has to take place. Isn't it? I am growing, I am preparing the field, I am planting the seeds, then it must grow, So I must get lot of paddy, lot of rice, and then when I have this, I am not going to eat it alone. I am going to share, right? Share with others, with the family members and with, with the other people in the society. And this is not something very difficult, like if you look at the whole Indian villages, and their mindset. Anybody who is coming, Atithi Deva Bhava, right? So whoever comes to your house, you offer him, whether he has helped you in growing it or not. You offer the food, isn't it? So that willingness to share with others, and this you are not exchanging, you are just giving. In the family, you don't exchange, you distribute. So as your feeling of relationship expands, that sharing also expands, giving also expands rather than, exchanging. But then the growth has to take place, you have to have the rice grown, that profit has to be there in that sense. So it is guided by justice, by harmony, that when you are growing rice, you are growing it in a manner which is mutually fulfilling for other human being and also fulfilling for the rest of nature. Once that rice is there, now you are, distributing, sharing, But that it has to grow. Isn't it? And it's very interesting, in the whole Indian this thing, when this takes place, when some rice is growing, in Hindi it is said, अच्छी खेती हुई है, अच्छी खेती किया है हमने, ऐसा नहीं बोलते. It's not that I have grown the rice good this time, but this time the rice has grown well, This language means that I am not the only one who is growing. The whole nature is there, involved. I did some process, but it's not just because of me. The whole nature is involved in it. And that's how it has grown well. So it's not that I have grown the rice well. This time the rice has grown very well. So that is this understanding that the whole nature is there in the process involved, and it's not only my contribution.
But when we have earned, when we say, I earned, we never say, it all came to that we could have earned. We don't say that.
Yes.
With so much difficult, I have earned for you, and the parents will be scolding the children.
Yes, and the husband will be scolding the wife. And then next time the wife will say that, okay, I will also go for job, okay, because I am doing more than what you are doing. Okay. And then she goes for the job and she has to do double, do in the office and come back and do at home.
About this profit itself. About this.
I have a question about this profit itself. One farmer doing the farm without the pesticides and this oil, and he is giving manpower more. Then his means फसल तो बहुत अच्छा होगा. Or some others, they are also doing this thing with the pesticides and all. He may get more money from this thing, which is profitable, we can say. One is in the view of prosperity, who is with the harmony with nature, this is doing, then it is a part of prosperity. Another is only this profit oriented. Then which is actual profit, we can say.
Yeah, this is what is written there. This profit is guided by coexistence, harmony and justice. It's not unguided. What you are saying is unguided profit, right? You are not caring for the harmony in nature. You are not caring about the justice with other human being. Okay? You are only concerned with the profit. That creates problem for you, and it creates problem for other human being, and it creates problem for the rest of nature. So that's not something very natural for us as a human being. So whenever you are thinking of exploiting, you are unhappy. Because you cannot think of exploiting the other without having the feeling of opposition with the other. Can you? You cannot. And when you have the feeling of opposition, for the other, are you in a state of harmony within or disharmony within? Disharmony, unhappiness. Yeah. So this is the state of development that we all want to reach. And if we can reach there, then what we are doing for the humane society, for this undivided human society and universal human order and the human tradition, is just a self-exploration, expression of the self, expression of your state of being. So you are not doing something for the other only, right? It is something which you are doing for yourself, because that's what you are now. You cannot do otherwise. Can you do otherwise? Because it is not naturally acceptable to you. So if you are living like this as a human being, if that self-development has taken place, then there will be team development and then ultimately the development of the society. Right? So you will have something like this. A human society in which this is ensured generation after generation. And if you really explore and find out, this is not something very big to achieve. With right understanding and right feeling, this seems to be a very natural thing to happen. With the kind of physical facility that we have today, the kind of technology we have today, enough can be grown in terms of physical facility. This right understanding and right feeling, anyway, is not based on physical facility, It's based on our own understanding and feeling, and then, sharing with others. This health part, if you have the right understanding and right feeling in the self, you can maintain the health of your body much better than what you are doing today. This must be the experience of most of you by now. Okay? With the same kind of physical facility and medical health facility, you are able to maintain your health better now. Right? I was just talking to her that, she has lost some 11-12 kg of weight, Nalini, yeah. So I was looking for her and I couldn't recognize because interesting. I was listening to her experience in another session you have shared, so I am just listening to that. That she has that confidence now that I can take care of my health. And she is a medical personnel, even before. But now she feels that yes, with this clarity and with understanding about the human health or holistic human health, she is able to take care of the health much better now. And take care of her health and also give the right kind of advice to others. Similarly, this prosperity has to do with physical facility, but this identification of how much physical facility is required comes through that right understanding and right feeling. And you will realize that today most of us have far more than what is required. Far more than what is required. Yeah. We are already growing 6 times what is required for all 800 crores of people. Yeah. Then this justice is anyway has to do with the relationship, the feeling of relationship. So all these are not very far, things to reach if we have the right understanding and right feeling. Yes. So with that, if I just look at this is an issue of self-development, right? From here to here. And this is the issue of societal development. And they are related. If the self-development takes place, the societal development will naturally take place. Okay? And that you must be now realizing, many of you, that as you are growing, you are able to develop a better team and contribute more meaningfully to the society, the development of the society. Yeah, this I have already mentioned. I'll keep coming back to this because for me, these 3 days, is essentially focused on this particular aspect. Okay. So relationship is fundamental to team development, which I have mentioned. And in relationship, what is fundamental is the feeling, the values are fundamental to relationship. Right? These feelings are in this self. Right? and therefore it is essential to understand this self, and it is essential to ensure this feeling of relationship in this self. Okay? And I'll come. And if that is there, then this team development is possible. Okay? So I'll keep asking this question to each one of you, whether you are able to develop yourself to the extent that you have a feeling of relationship for the other or not. At least feeling of relationship, unconditional acceptance for the other team members or not. When you are looking at the team member, you are looking at him with this feeling of collaboration or feeling of competition. Okay? I mean, I feel that that's a real-time issue for us now, because that is where things will depend. How further we go will depend upon this particular state of our being. Okay? If we don't work here, and if we don't resolve this issue of team development now, okay, with all the possibilities opening, things will not work. So we have already come to a stage where things are growing very fast, much more than what was expected. Okay, but to maintain that, we need to have that team, right? And to maintain that team, and work efficiently, we need to work for our self-development, and particularly with the work with the self on this issue of relationship, ensuring this feeling of relationship for each one of us in an unconditional manner. Okay, so that's one thing which I would keep talking to you throughout these days, 3 days, and would try to understand from you, how it is going, and if there are problems, what is the problem, how that problem can be resolved. Okay. So that's going to be the core of our discussion for next 3 days. So I thought I must, make it clear in this keynote. Yeah. So this is what I wanted to place from my side.
Thank you, Bhaiya.
Yeah. So if there is any immediate point to discuss, we can do that if time permits. But from my side, I have placed it by 1:30. Yes.
Thank you for
1:30. Time for lunch actually. Can we continue that after the session? Lunch break?
Yeah. Thank you, Bhaiya.
This will be the last question. Yes.
Bhaiya. No, I am not going to ask question, Bhaiya. Just the clarity which you have given, so that the developed self can ensure mutual fulfillment with the feeling of relationship, and will participate in a larger order from family order to world family order, which you have given. Thank you for the clarity, Bhaiya. And we'll break for the lunch from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. and followed by the sharing sessions. The sharing can be based on the themes or free sharing with 3 pointers. The pointers will be shared group, and that is the first is what I have explored, how have I explored, and the impact in my living. So this pointers will be shared in the WhatsApp group. Thank you everyone. Yeah, if you are not in the WhatsApp group, kindly you can join the WhatsApp group. Registration form also you are supposed to submit. Kindly, yeah. Lunch venue 601. Yeah. Thank you, Bhaiya. Thank you, everyone.
கேக்குது. Yeah. கேக்குது.